All right, so welcome to yet another DYOR podcast show. And today we want to talk about a really interesting topic. So imagine you can be able to convert your airtime to crypto, to digital money, or buy airtime using crypto digital currency. Yeah, so that's what we'll be talking about tonight. And I'm really honored to be joined by the person who came up with all this idea. And yeah, you can take it away and introduce yourself and tell us about how you came up with this brilliant idea.
Uh, Thank you for having me, Francis. I'd love to share about Fonbnk and our founding story. Fonbnk, as it currently stands, is a type of on and off ramp to and from Web3. We target mobile first, cash based economies. And what makes us unique is that we utilize prepaid airtime and now actually mobile money as mediums of exchange on our marketplace. And again, this provides a type of on ramp and off ramp, even though it might be set up as a type of distributed exchange, meaning that we don't have a centralized order book. We work with, and this is something that is probably just contextually significant for folks across Kenya, is that we actually utilize agent networks and individuals to be the sources of liquidity in the marketplace. So you as an individual could set up liquidity and earn extra money swapping airtime for USDC on our platform. Or you could be part of an agent network and do that as well, or other enterprises that might want to make some extra money swapping airtime and mobile money in exchange for USDC. So, other businesses that may be somewhat similar, like Paxful or local cryptos or Binance P2P, but where we're significantly different is that we've actually productized that workflow around airtime and mobile money, and so it's literally like an Apple Pay type of experience for a user, except across sub-Saharan African markets like Kenya, where Apple Pay doesn't exist for the vast majority of. And but if you top up your mobile phone, you can now get access to Web3. And I'll pause there for a second before I jump into the founding story to see if you have any questions or if any clarifications.
No, just like you said, Fonbnk is specifically tailored for sub-Saharan Africa that are not, or rather do not really have access to Apple Pay. So that's the major taking point that I've heard from what you've explained, which is a really cool feature because now it will onboard most of the sub-Saharan African users. And the amazing thing is that we here in Africa we mostly use phones, so it will onboard a large number of people. Mhm.
Yes. And so I'm actually originally from Jamaica. Right. So even though Jamaica was they had the Jamaican dollar, it's pegged to the US dollar. But as a family, when we visited or went on vacation, you always had the option of paying in dollars, right? And so, this is a type of experience many people have across emerging markets in their economies where there's obviously the local currency, but because it may be pegged to the dollar for any number of reasons, trade, stability, etc., many merchants, counterparties, friends or family, happy to accept dollars. While setting up a dollar account at a bank might be a different story, but you know that having this sort of Western currency could be used. It's almost effectively a bearer bond, even though it might not be legal tender. You can trade it. So fast forward to Fonbnk, it actually started as a bet with my brother-in-law, who had gone to Kenya to go visit a friend of his and come back, and I caught up with him a few months later, and he had this Safaricom SIM, and I'm a longtime fintech and telco entrepreneur executive, and always had been a student of M-Pesa. So when he shared with me about his experiences there, like, oh yeah, I was able to go to a bar and pay my tab with M-Pesa, and then one time I ran out of funds in M-Pesa, I could use some airtime, and I transferred it, and for it paid a taxi, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And so I had him come over because I just wanted to see the product live in action, as I'd read about it many years, but I'd never seen the physical sort of app, and and additionally, like the blockchain innovation has occurred prior to the formation of or after the formation of M-Pesa and Safaricom. So anyway, long story short, and I'll get to that contextually in a second. He came over, I plug in the SIM, and we see that there's like 1,000 shilling balance, and it was like, oh, I thought it had expired, right? And he was telling me about how you could transfer value P2P and network, and I was like, I wanted to test this thing out, and so long story short, bet me that I couldn't resell that balance to someone on the ground in Kenya. And it wouldn't be remarkable if it weren't for the fact we're both in Washington, D.C. at the time. And so I devised this hack where I took out some ads on Facebook targeting people on the ground in Kenya that liked M-Pesa and Safaricom, and actually forgot about it. And I was going to, until I got this receipt from Facebook saying, hey, you've been charged $5 for your ad. It, hit its impressions, like, oh man, let me turn this thing off. And I went into the account to go turn it off, and I noticed a couple of people had responded. So I was like, whoa. So I invite them into a WhatsApp group, and after a brief negotiation, I'm able to sell the airtime and got paid using the M-Pesa account. And that was sort of the genesis of Fonbnk, where we can tokenize a unit of prepaid airtime and now mobile money and make it tradable on the public blockchain for value.
Wow. So is it safe to say that Fonbnk was M-Pesa inspired?
Yes, very much so. And I'd even go further and say it's M-Pesa meets the blockchain, right?
Yeah. So Fonbnk is M-Pesa on chain. Amazing stuff.
Exactly.
So just following up on your story. So when you said that you I don't know if it's safe to say you are sold out on how it was amazing for someone to pay his stuff using just the phone, and then you pose a challenge to your brother that you'd be able to sell this airtime for your currency. So from your story, I've picked that Fonbnk also solves kind of cross-border airtime problems. Maybe for someone like a tourist who comes to, let's use Kenya, a Jamaican from Jamaica comes to Kenya for a visit, buys some airtime, and now it's time to go back to Jamaica, but he probably has a balance of 2,000 bob. Now, because he won't be able to use it, he can use Fonbnk to probably turn it back to USDC. I'm not sure if I'm getting
No,
the
that's
concept.
it exactly. And and as we've been at this for 18, 20, 24 months now,
Mm-hmm.
Cross-border remittance is probably the biggest aha innovation in terms of what we're doing. And if it wasn't sort of clear in that founding story, part of this epiphany was that here was this public network, i.e. the global telecommunications networks, the same way we're able to have this video call right now. I'm able to send send packets of data back and forth globally. How come I can't transfer value on the same pipes? And what's different about actually how M-Pesa evolved from its days when it's transferring airtime, utilizing at least the telco network. With M-Pesa today, it looks more like mobile money services that are fiat based in the West, and as a result, you have a parallel network that's not ubiquitous and not internet driven in the same way that this video call is. And as a result, you create all this friction in terms of moving money around, and which in many respects are artificial, right? And whereas internet native value, and that's sort of the big idea around crypto, and what we're really addressing with Fonbnk is utilizing an IP internet native currency to use as a type of ledger that could be transferred globally. And even though they might be somewhat different networks, Fonbnk has like a meta network or accounting system on top of the carrier systems that allow not just cross-border, but also interoperability amongst phone networks as well.
Yeah, so is there a simpler term that maybe you can explain to someone who knows nothing about blockchain and IT?
No, actually, that's a great sort of statement. One of the areas that we're looking at are like creators and helping Africans better monetize their creative energy across Africa. And what I mean by that is, imagine if you're an artist in Kenya, whether it's a musical artist or a visual artist of some sort, and someone in Nigeria likes your work and they want to pay you, whether it's an online ticket to like a video concert, or like an NFT, or even just a donation, right? That's a really challenging thing to do today, right? At least
Yes.
On a small ticket basis. And so and you think about no one's gonna go to a bank to set up a wire or SWIFT to, for a few dollar ticket or donation or purchase, right?
Sure.
It's just too hard. And ironically, if you're going to use other traditional networks, it actually even works like the IP networks where, let's say you're going to wire that money. Let's say you were going to do it, it'd have to go probably to the US or Europe before it would go back down to, Kenya from Nigeria. It's just crazy. And so with Fonbnk, someone in a place like Nigeria could pay you in Kenya, and the person in Nigeria could use mobile money or airtime on MTN, and you could receive value in USDC on your preferred protocol, regardless of what mobile carrier you're using in Kenya. So let's say you're on Safaricom, but that's not necessarily, that's meaningless, because the funds are essentially tokenized from the local currency into crypto stable coins. And just to simplify it, you can use your airtime and mobile money and to pay, and the merchant receives the funds and essentially effectively crypto dollars, right? And all this can happen in seconds with no middleman.
Yeah, sure.
In the process.
Just to clarify on that, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. So what happens in Fonbnk is you convert your airtime to the tokens called mints, and you will just clarify on the ratio, but it's stable, right? So I think 100 min
Correct.
is equivalent to 1 USDC.
Or $1, right? One USDC
$1.
is like a penny. And so one of the things we've done, and I'll share this link with you but
Sure.
we've now created what's called the pay widget. So you actually don't need to know anything about Fonbnk. You could be some type of like an influencer or something like that. You could create a payment link, based on your preferred protocol and wallet address, drop in some artwork and call to action for like your web rendering, and then take this link and put it in like your Instagram or TikTok or Twitter profile, and your fans could start paying you. Like you could be in some place like Zimbabwe where the financial system is just like is broken, and get paid in dollars from people all over the continent, right? And but Fonbnk is what makes us different than most payment networks is that we're a non-custodial fiat payment flow. So we actually never touch the funds. But what is occurring is you're actually just swapping that value for USDC from our network of market makers or liquidity providers that I talked about earlier. It could be individuals, it could be agent networks. They're all running a form of the Fonbnk software that automates that swap for them. They will set up an offer to buy airtime or mobile money at a particular conversion ratio or price, and as the market taker or someone that wants to swap their airtime or mobile money, you accept that offer, and once accepted, the protocol now affects the swap. And with this pay widget now, you don't even have to use the app. You don't even have to know anything about Fonbnk, right? You literally will have entered. You can enter a destination wallet address, or with the pay instant merchant feature, which is what I'm going to share the Twitter link for. It'll automatically settle into the merchant's wallet address, and you may never have known anything about Fonbnk other than you were able to convert your prepaid airtime in one country to USDC for a merchant in a different country, and this transaction took place in tens of seconds.
That is so amazing, because recently I was just looking at the app, and I think that's a new feature that I'm also looking forward to.
It is.
As a user.
It is.
Okay, so on automated market makers, perhaps you can just talk shortly about how you can probably curb bad actors, because in the crypto space there are also some bad actors. Maybe I'm interested to be a market maker in, or rather use Fonbnk. So how do you?
Yes. No. Thanks for bringing that up. So as I said, we're a distributed exchange, and so our real customer is that automated market maker, or that market maker, right? This is the person that provides liquidity in the marketplace or creates offers to swap airtime and mobile. Job is to post liquidity maybe it's P2P, whether it's in market from different services, and you then sort of price out that offer based on how much liquidity, your transaction costs in buying it P2P locally, and you add a profit margin, and then you post that offer onto what we call a swap. You create a swap, and then when a market taker, someone that wants to liquidate their airtime or mobile money for USDC, you then approve the swap, or at least that's how it used to be. You approve the swap once you've confirmed the receipt of those funds, and then by approving the swap, you release the tokens, the min tokens that you mentioned, that can be converted into USDC. Well, our business grew, the volumes grew. It actually was more difficult to do that manually, because you have to do all these reconciliations to make sure that you receive the airtime or mobile money. Well, now with this app, it's really kind of an accounting system that you set up on your phone, and it will reconcile all the receipts of airtime and mobile money relative to the offers accepted in the app or on the marketplace. So you, as the automated market maker, once you set up this software, you literally can sit back and it will automatically trade on your behalf. And it'll even tell you sort of the profits that you can make, that you've made from that swap. And so, I look at it as like, this is sort of the future of sort of the digital work. And, it's important, I think, or a great opportunity for someone that's interested in crypto, that might know something about, selling airtime, or is a good salesperson, or wants to make a few bucks on the side, whether it's to pay for their mobile bill, pay for their Friday nights when they go out, whatever those sort of requirements are. And you can become an automated market maker, and where you're generating income. And we even have another app, we call it the top up app, that will automatically resell your airtime, if that's the liquidity you're providing, you've provided, in exchange for USDC. We will resell that to other app developers who buy airtime in bulk at discount. And to ask your question about addressing any type of fraud issues, one of the things you have to do to go through the verified market maker program, is the reason why we call it verified, is that you're a trusted party. You have to go through a KYC process. You have to go through a brief education process. You obviously have to know how to use the app, and we have some tests for that. And then once you accomplish those things, you can now be a trusted market maker on the platform, and where you can generate passive income almost by adding liquidity, and we'll effectively market your liquidity on our exchange.
All right. So what are some of the benefits of the automated market makers, apart from the profits that he or she is making? Are there some kind of incentives for being a liquidity provider?
Oh yeah, I mean, we all have all types of bonuses for becoming liquidity providers, and those do change. One of the things that I didn't mention is that we're working with a number of leading crypto protocols that want to that see Sub-Saharan Africa and key markets like Kenya as the future of growth for them and adoption. And as a result, they provide us different incentives to onboard new participants in our market.
So yeah, you were saying there are different kinds of incentives for automated market makers.
Yes. So, like I said, we've done partnerships with some leading global crypto protocols that want to add new users and wallets across the continent, because they see that as the future of Web3, and as such, giving us a mandate to incent people with their token who transact on our marketplace. So these are all the new types of benefits that we're adding. We're adding a lot more in the next year. So, it's a way in which you'll not only generate profit from your swap, but you could receive additional income for your activity, or additional rewards rather, because some of it is not necessarily something that may or may not be sold for income. It could be like game credits or promotional things where you trial something new, but it is valuable to participate in this thing. And at the end of the day, this is what I'd tell people, especially young people coming out in the world in this new economy, and being Jamaican, I know how difficult it is to access certain opportunities. Well, what we provide you is, it's a type of technical education, right? If you can learn Fonbnk, understand what we do, understand some of these protocols, educate yourself on Web3. This is kind of a stepping stone to more significant opportunities, and not that they're mutually exclusive either. Like Fonbnk, if you're a good market maker, you might get multiple phones. We have people that are running, half dozen phones that are just generating swaps, and in an automated way, and they earn enough money to pay rent, pay for car, definitely paying for going out type of thing. And so, but it's not mutually exclusive from, as a stepping stone to other technical and opportunities that pay more money, right? Like, and if you think about it, if you're a Western company looking for talent in Kenya, and you may not have been able to get a job previously to that in IT, but you're a Fonbnk market maker, well, that's a pretty good indicator to someone that you're intelligent enough to learn, you're a self-starter, you understand some of these technology concepts, and I think that to me is a really powerful thing, and why our tagline is unlock your potential. Is that this is not just about like trading crypto, it's about educating people to global opportunities. And this on-ramp is not just to Web3, it's to the global digital economy and all the things that are available with that.
I heard you talk about some big protocols on Web3. Could you also touch on some of the probably partnerships that Fonbnk is engaging with? I usually see.
So what?
Stella.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Stella
they're the one we can announce right now. But we have a fantastic strategic relationship with them that we want to continue and educate, because it's a great protocol for remittance and store value, more so than many other protocols. And now that they have the USDC or stablecoin, and some of the other partnerships they have with like MoneyGram, it's a great way to to have a stellar wallet like a Lobster. It's better than most bank accounts, right?
Yeah,
and
sure.
Whereas some people can't afford or have enough money to get a dollar account in Kenya, you can get a Lobster wallet and store dollars, and you can convert your Airtime credit and mobile money into dollars and store it in your Lobster wallet, and you have a dollar account. Doesn't matter if you have a dollar or $100,000. That's possible, right? But we have a number of other partnerships that are sort of in process right now that we'll be announcing within the next few months. But I think the other big one is that we did announce that we have a relationship with Tanda, which is a big agent network across East Africa, where their agents will be utilizing the Fonbnk swap protocol to enable this service through their agent network.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of the protocol.
Tanda.
Tanda.
Oh, our protocol. Yeah, but Tanda is an agent network in Kenya.
Oh, okay. Okay. Also, I'd also like to know about. You've talked about how Fonbnk makes it easy for cross-border remittance. It also creates job opportunities for people who want to be automated market makers. Are there some other future features that we should probably we should expect from Fonbnk, apart from the one that you said you will share the link about, which is really amazing? Because from that one, from what I've gathered, is that you don't have to know, or rather have a background knowledge of blockchain and all this techie stuff. You just receive your payments, convert them to USDC, and earn. So are there some other amazing features that you have in store for us?
You bring up a really good point. One of the things that ultimately, um, that's part of our DNA, if you think about it, like it's a telecommunications centric solution, right? Utilizing the telco networks to perform value transfer, which was the original uh, sort of thesis or inspiration or around M-Pesa, but now there's a blockchain. Well, I also see an opportunity to drive more telecommunication centric type services, that are actually telecommunication services, things like voice over IP. Like, why not have a telco on a token where, and you think about like all a prepaid SIM is a type of just authentication asset, right? Well, that's physical. Well, now with these virtual tokens, I could potentially hold it in a wallet, and it could, regardless of my device, I could now get access to some type of telecommunications service, whether it terminated on a landline or it's point to point on a network like Google Meets, like we're talking. Heck, it could even be satellite internet, right? There's all these new services that are coming out. So, I think that's really important. And ultimately, like, again, part of our vision and mission is to drive financial inclusion through affordable economic access solutions. So in an ideal world, we want to figure out ways to pay you to use the internet that will lessen the cost of your access so that you can transact at global scale. And as an average person, we want to take away all those friction points. So if you have a little shop somewhere in Kenya, you can now sell to the rest of the world, and they can pay you in a way in which you can now also trade with the rest of the world. And I think that's priceless.
Yeah, I think that's a really amazing thing that Fonbnk is bringing, not just to Africa, but to the entire world, because now I can be able to change my airtime to USDC, and maybe if I travel to Brazil, I can convert my airtime back to USDC and use it for my personal use, which is a really powerful thing
Yeah.
that Fonbnk is bringing to us.
Or maybe even a different way to think about it is, now you have this wallet that is fungible into one of the most basic human needs globally, and that's access to telecommunications, right?
Yeah.
And which historically there's this huge friction in that, right? There shouldn't be, for the people that need it the most, right? What's interesting is you have these refugees in globally now, but I'm just take two specific countries where this is probably most relevant to, but like in Venezuela, you had a number of refugees fleeing to Colombia, and these were like doctors and lawyers and middle-class people. Well, their money is worthless the second they cross that border, and they might even have like a smartphone or something, right? And they want to talk to their family. They want to, coordinate someplace for them to live or get something to eat. And if they had, tokenized access to telecommunications, they could have a balance in their wallet in Venezuela, get on it, and then they're in Colombia, and they can use that network in Colombia and pay it with this dollarized value, and they can call up a relative that will give them shelter and food, right? Same for like Syrian refugees that they enter Europe. They have smartphones. Similar type of thing. They have networks. Same for many of the refugees across the continent of Africa. 1 in 5, and it's probably even greater now, displaced peoples have a smartphone, right?
Yeah, sure.
But what they don't have is a fungible value that doesn't come with a ton of friction that allows them to use it. And so I want everybody to have access and make it table stakes and easy, simple to use. Like, think about like how easy WhatsApp is, right? Well, that's how your money should be. And, it doesn't have to be, it's not the type of thing. And you think about governments and KYC and regulations. Again, this is not about like buying a house or moving gazillions of dollars around. This is about helping regular people, like, with food, water, shelter, communications, catching a bus, like living their life, right? Maybe having a little bit of relaxing time, listening to some music or playing a game. That's what we want to be able to help. And then even, as a kid could like study online or take a little micro course or something like that. And this is what I mean by unlocking the potential of human beings to do the things that human beings do, to make sure that they're challenged and to have access to those opportunities. And it starts simply, I think, with sort of removing friction of communications and value. And that's where, we start, and we'll always end with Fonbnk.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful feature. It's the decentralization part, where it just means giving back the power to the people. I remember there's a lady who I was talking to some time back. She was telling me she wants to buy some courses, and she was having a hard time because using these other remittance services was hard. Perhaps using Fonbnk to convert her airtime to USDC, she can easily purchase her courses and study, which is a really, really amazing thing.
Yeah.
Is there any other thing that you'd like to talk about? Because I believe there's so much that you have in store for us, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to yet another episode after I launch the features that you have said you will roll out in the coming weeks.
I definitely would encourage everybody to utilize this pay widget and set up their own instant merchant payment link. I sent you the post on Twitter that has the link to the site. But also, I encourage, once you learn more about Fonbnk, I encourage you to become a market maker. I think everybody that listens to this podcast should participate. It's simple, it's easy, and it will allow you to, earn additional funds, but also to learn about Web3 and some of the real world applications of it in your market that are relevant to you. And I think that's something that you can take with you a long time in as you develop as a professional, and you go down this whole sort of rabbit hole of technology and how it can benefit you in your specific life.
All right. Yeah, so I think you've told the listeners about so much that Fonbnk is doing to the world, not just sub-Saharan African, but I think it's global. It's something that is going to help the global population, from refugees to local users to just someone who just wants to meet his or her basic needs like travel costs and pay for her lunch. And these are the basics of what the majority of the world population is looking at, and being able to meet this is really important. So just winding up, where can now the listeners and me find maybe follow you, your social links and other helpful material about Fonbnk?
Sure. Well, so first go to fonbnk.com, FONBNK.com, and all these tools are available there. And follow me on Twitter at sign CDUFFUS C Duffus. on Twitter, and happy to interact, and or at Fonbnk, Fonbnk dot zero or 01 on Twitter as well. Um, but yeah, no, this is what I do. I love it, and
Mm-hmm.
to me, like, I think it's really important. Like, if you want a successful business, part of the value proposition is not just money, but it's what type of impact can you have on people's lives. And I think that's really, really important. That's an ethos that we've baked into our product and our company and our culture. And I want our market makers to be that type of people as well.
Yeah, it's been really amazing few minutes, and thank you so much for making time to talk about Fonbnk. So none of
Hey,
this
my
is,
pleasure, Francis.
yeah, none of this is just a disclaimer to the listeners out here. None of this is a financial advice, and we are required to do our own research. Christian has offered us links, important links that we can do our own research and make our own informed decisions. And thank you so much, and looking forward to hosting you in the next episode.
Definitely, definitely. Have a fantastic day.
Have a fantastic day too.